So did Ferrari just create the perfect dadmobile in the Purosangue? I think they did, and we're gonna go ahead and dive into that topic in today's video. So if you haven't heard, Ferrari just unveiled their all new first four-door vehicle in their lineup, the Purosangue, which is powered by a naturally aspirated V12 producing over 700 horsepower. And when they unveiled the vehicle, I saw online, of course, pictures of it, and I'm looking at this car and wasn't really sold on it, but the local dealer, Ferrari San Francisco, had a unveiling event, and I was able to go and see the vehicle in person, get in it, feel around, and see what my thoughts were on the vehicle. And I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised at how much I really liked the car. And reality is, it might actually be the perfect dadmobile for the dad who needs the extra space but doesn't want to lose the performance of a car and jump into a big truck or an SUV. And one thing I've noticed, of course, over the last 6 months of having my 458 Italia is if we want to go to an event as a family, we have to take two vehicles because three of us are not going to fit in the 458. But Ferrari has just come out with this new Purosangue, which is remarkable vehicle. And when we got there, of course, they said, don't call it an SUV. It is not what you would expect from an SUV. And after seeing it in person and checking it out, that's definitely a true statement. It's not your traditional SUV. Personally, I'm not a fan of SUVs or trucks. I don't like the high center of gravity, the floatiness, the soft suspension, this overpowered steering. None of that. It's not for me. I much prefer driving around in something like this. Now the Challenger's got back seats, so taking kids in that's not a problem, but the Viper and the Ferrari here, they don't have a back seat. Ferrari does have cars like the FF and the Lusso, which have back seats, but the problem with those is trying to get a car seat in the back being a two-door vehicle. Now the Purosangue solves that problem because having a four-door, which the rears are actually suicide doors, you go ahead, get a car seat in and out of the back without a problem, and it actually seats four adults comfortably. I was really pleasantly surprised with how much interior space the Purosangue has. And I also like the fact that it's got four bucket seats, and they're like a race-inspired bucket seat, of course, because true Ferrari. And it just looks really nice and elegant on the interior. Now, of course, having four individual seats limits you to a seating of four instead of five, but at the same time, four is good enough if you already have other vehicles to support multiple people. Another big bonus on the Purosangue over the Lusso or the FF, and that's the storage capacity in the trunk. It's got a lot more storage capability, so you can take a lot more of your kids' stuff with you to go wherever you gotta go. And of course, what I like, being that it's really not an SUV, but an oversized car, is you sit lower to the ground and you don't have the feel of being in an SUV. And then also, apparently it has a hard driving mode, which actually lowers the ride height of the vehicle almost a half an inch more to get you even closer to the ground and give you even more of that sports car feel that Ferrari is known for. Now, unfortunately, at the event that we went to, we weren't able to drive the vehicle, we were just able to look at it, and they did start it up and it sounds incredible. But then again, it also has the same engine that's based out of the 812 Superfast, so you know it's gonna sound amazing. Biggest drawback on the car, of course, from my perspective, is the price point. And that is, it starts at $402,000. And of course, with options, this guy is the limit. In fact, they estimated the price point on the one that we were looking at had a MSRP of around $580,000. So nearly 50% price increase from the base MSRP just from options. I gotta say though, some of these options were pretty nice. Having all Alcantara door panels looked really sharp, and I was really impressed with it. The other downside that, from my perspective, is the interior, the instrument cluster, the steering wheel. It's going that all tech route that you've got with like the Roma and the SF90 and the 296 GTB. This is the direction the company's going, which I understand, trying to add more tech into it and having more haptic controls. But for me, I prefer more of the analog traditional, which is one of the reasons when I went ahead and got a 458 Italia over one of the newer vehicles. I prefer the old school analog traditional buttons, knobs, dials, things of that nature, which you don't have in the new car. The instrument cluster and the dash, everything is beautiful, but it's completely digital. And so I could see in the long run, of course, having issues with that. But for now, it looks pretty cool and works great right out of the gate. Of course, it is a bit cumbersome with having all the different buttons and things and trying to figure out where they are, but that's traditional Ferrari. I mean, we've got problems like that with my 458 Italian trying to navigate all the menus. So it's just the natural progression. But overall, I was really impressed with the car. It's got 22-inch wheels on the front and 23-inch wheels on the back. I did ask about the possibility of towing with the Purosangue, and I was told that no, you could not fit a hitch to the back of the car. It is not rated for towing. It's not an SUV or a truck. It is a oversized performance car that is true to Ferrari's nature. And so I just thought I would share that with all you guys, what my initial thoughts were. I was really impressed with it. I did not expect to like the vehicle at all. I figured I was gonna hate the car, but seeing it in person, I was blown away. It was a lot of fun. My daughter and my wife went with us, and my daughter really liked it as well, of course, being able to check out the car and sit in the new Ferrari. Will I be adding one to my collection in the future? Anyone's guess at this point what the future holds for me and what cars are gonna be here. I would like to have one. I feel, like I said, it's the perfect dadmobile for the dad that needs the extra space to be able to take all your kids' stuff, including your kid, in their car seat, but at the same time isn't an SUV or a truck, because like I said before, I hate having the SUVs and trucks. That's the reason my wife drives our Durango. I just sit in the passenger seat and enjoy the ride, because it's not my favorite thing to be that high up in the air. But with the price point where they're at, I don't see getting one anytime soon. There are a list of other cars I plan to have long before I would be willing to spend upwards of $500,000 or more on a daily driver dadmobile. That being said, if something were to change in my financial status and I could afford to have that luxury of having that as a daily driver, yeah, you bet, I would absolutely love to have one of those to go and take my kid to our events, take it to Monterey Car Week, go to other car shows, just a nice family vehicle that's not a big, huge SUV and still has room for all of our stuff that we need to take on our adventures.